All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. Pulled away for a couple seconds here. Hope you guys can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if somebody can hear me. If you can hear me, go ahead and say a comment. Let me know you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Make a comment. Let me know. Um, there's a comment. Let's see. Okay, Bardo, can you hear me? Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Beautiful. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Johnson. I'm the owner and operator of Firearms Training Facility in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida, where we specialize in you. We teach people who like yourself to become more proficient with a pistol and work on your fundamentals: grip stance, trigger control, sight picture, sight alignment. We're an indoor gun range, training facility, and gun store, and we got everything you need as far as a new shooter would need. Whether you want to do transfers or what do you want to do purchasing, we are. I realize who Bar. I know it's you, Bear. I got you, buddy. I appreciate you being on there. I would never call you your real name. It's always Bear to me, buddy. So we're gonna wait a few seconds here and let people fill in here. I have some great news. My son John Johnson the second asked his beautiful girlfriend to marry him on Monday yesterday. They're in Atlanta, Georgia, over the weekend, and he popped the question to her, and she said yes. And we are so excited, me and Miss Johnson. I'm not sure if I was supposed to tell anybody, but I can't help it. I was so excited for them. We had a great weekend. We were busy here at the store. It's been a little slow lately, so we are excited to what the world's going to bring for those two, and hopefully no pressure, no pressure, guys. But grandbabies maybe in the future. Hopefully, who knows? We're not going to force it, but we sure would like to. Me and Miss Johnson have a little girl or a little boy that we can spoil the shit out of. That's part of the deal there. I hope everything's doing wonderful for you. When we are streaming on a couple different places tonight, we are streaming on Facebook. We are streaming on YouTube. We are spring. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate that very much. We are streaming on the Instagram, and now we are on Rumble. If you guys don't know what Rumble is, it's a very 2A friendly social media place, similar to YouTube. They allow me to post videos. They allow me to do a lot of different stuff, as well as comment and do little shorts and things like that. So, we just want to spread our wings a little bit and find some other stuff. As the industry we're in, it, you know, it's frowned on a lot by the larger companies in the world today. So it becomes somewhat challenging for a small company to put all of our eggs in one basket, if you know what I mean. YouTube is the giant. They are there. They kind of spend, they have allowed us to do a lot of different stuff. They've allowed us to do our videos, and we appreciate that very much. And we get a lot of people watching us through those other industries, but definitely 100%. We want to spread our wings. So if you guys have an opportunity in this PowerPoint presentation we're going to do today, there is a Rumble information, and there is a little link to go to my Rumble and subscribe to us as well. I need your support in that, obviously, because Rumble is not as big as the Giant, and it's going to take longer to get that going. But the one thing about YouTube, if you don't know, is it takes a little longer to get monetized with them. With Rumble, we're monetized right off the bat. So it's just part of that great thing. So get an opportunity. Elon Musk is involved in that, and the guy over there in the East Coast, Dan Bongino, is attached to it. Trump's attached to it. So there's a lot of neat things why you want to be in Rumble as well. So get an opportunity, check it out. All right, so we got a few people here. It's kind of quiet tonight. There's only three people on there, so we're gonna get going here. They normally pick up after a little bit. So we'll see what goes on here after a lot of these people are doing stuff tonight, and we end up getting a lot more after the fact. But if you're on here live and you're coming in for some reason or another, and most people have already put their names in, but if you don't have your names in the commenting below, just make sure you make a comment. Let us know where you're from and who you are, and it makes all the difference in the world for us to give you a big shout out for being here for you. Now we're going to go to this PowerPoint presentation. We're not going to go through comments during the PowerPoint presentation, but if you find something or you want to make a comment during the PowerPoint presentation, be my guest. Go ahead. And then once we get off the PowerPoint presentation, we'll go back and look at the comments and figure out who asked what and try to answer all of your comments at that point in time, plus some you may add. Right. So this evening's PowerPoint presentation is reasoning for why you want to get your firearm. We have a lot of statistics. Hello, Chris. How you doing, buddy? I'm glad you are. I'm glad you're on the call. I appreciate that very much. So Chris said, "What you gonna do? Buy the grandbaby their first firearm?" You damn right I am. You damn you damn right I will. First firearm, but taking them shooting, taking them fishing, doing all that stuff. That's exactly what Grandpa's supposed to do. But let's not push them now. I don't want to get a phone call from the missus telling me that I'm being a jackass and forcing the point. But you know how it goes. All right. So what we're doing tonight is we're looking over the importance of being safe with a firearm and some reason why you want a firearm. We got a lot of technical, um, some statistics, what's going on in the world today. This video is more in line of why you want to, what's going on in the world today. If you're living under a rock, but this is a pretty good thing because not only do we have this YouTube channel, guys, but we physically have our podcast as well. And the podcast is taken from this and audio only, and it's found where all podcasts are found. And you can just download the audio of this and have all that information as well. So let me add this to the screen. I think what I'm going to do today is just take me down, flip it over to just me on the screen. I think that's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to take me off of the screen. Well, I'm getting dangerous with this thing. I think I know what I'm doing at the time. Then I'm going to go to full screen. All right, staying safe, the importance of learning how to shoot and being prepared. This is a PowerPoint presentation I put together about things I think about on a regular basis, and we talk to our students about it on a regular basis, and we want to just make sure everyone's got their head around it. Because the FBI and the area they have full statistics. Now, there's not in this statistics we have is from 2022 because 2023 statistics aren't out until the following year. So they're always about a year and a half behind. But there's reasonings why you want to be yourself in a position to have a firearm, purchase a firearm, and begin to learn to shoot. I mean, obviously, you know what most people are doing it today. Most people over the week I think we sold 12, 13 pieces this weekend, and most 90% of the people walking in the door had nothing at all or very little had anything and hadn't shot in over 6.5 years. But what they're seeing seeing what's out there in the world today, it's really making them feel a little nervous and not comfortable of not having anything. So they decided they wanted to make sure that they had something for themselves. A little bit of business here, real quick. This is that Rumble. There's my Rumble registry there. It's John, the firearm instructor. If you go to Rumble and put my business name in, John, the firearms instructor, you pull me directly up, and there you can actually go right in there and become one of our subscribers, and we would appreciate that very much. And while you're there, check it out. Take a ride and see what's there. There's a lot of neat stuff. There's a lot of information out there, very friendly for us, and it'd be ideal for you to join Rumble as well as anything else that you have. Rumble is a video sharing platform that's immune to the cancel culture. They are finally a 2A friendly option out there. And we do Facebook, we do Instagram, we do TikTok, we do all the major social media accounts, but most of the time we are getting censored one way or the other. Speaking of that, guys, if you were on this call or this live this evening, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to look down there at the bottom of your thing if you're on YouTube and make sure your subscribe button is hit. If you're on Facebook or if you're on TikTok, make sure you got that like button hit or the following button hit. There's something going on that people lose their subscription. They lose their ability to subscribe. And then you have to do it each time. And I don't know what's going on. I'm sure it's not nefarious on anybody's property. It's just some kind of glitch in the system that takes you guys away from us. And if you're away from our product, every time we do a video of any kind and you're not subscribed, you're not going to know when it's happening. And so we want to make sure before you get too far into this that you are following us, if it's Instagram, liking us, if it's Facebook, if it's TikTok, you're going to follow as well. And then obviously YouTube, it's a subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon. The bell icon's important because it will notify you every time we upload a video, which we do about two or three a week, or anytime that we post anything in our community. Speaking of our community, make sure you're joining our community stuff on the YouTube because we do a lot of stuff. Once we get our members to 10 or more, you guys are going to get the videos up front first before we even give them out to the public. So, and that's only a $2.99 a month investment to support us as a company and allow us to do these YouTube videos and other stuff. It's not a ton of money, but it's a commitment from you that says you like what we offer and you want to support us in the way you can, and that's easy enough to do by joining one of our membership through our program here, which is in our YouTube channel. We appreciate that very much. All right, so Rumble, there we goes, Rumble. And then if you haven't found out much of anything else, this little key book here, I don't know why that's so black there, but on my website itself, there is a free 10 secrets from a firearms instructor. This is the essential tips for a new shooter. This cue card you see right there will take you right to our website, or you want to go to our website. This front page of our website, you can put this in the cart and receive it for free. Not only is this book free, but it's interactive. So, what that means, guys, is that not only is the book have the 10 secrets, but there are 10 videos attached to those secrets that you can watch and read and come to the shop and shoot after the fact and learn a lot more. So take advantage of these free books. We do them because we like you guys. We do them because we want to give our information out. Many years ago, when we started this firearms training business, we wanted to do it for educational purposes, entertainment, and education, and that's what I hope we do every each week for you. So if you get an opportunity, pick up this free book. It's going to be great for you guys. All right, that's enough commercials. So let's go ahead and hit you with number one: the crime rate. Understanding crime rate statistics and taking a proactive step. This whole night is about is getting to that proactive step, doing something to protect yourself. You think about violent crime, they talk about its fall. It has fallen. Violent crime is down. And the only reason why violent crime is down because gun ownership is up. That they forget to talk about that stuff. Later down the road here in these videos, you're going to see there was more purchasing of firearms this year than the last 12 years. It's going up more and more and more and more because the aggravated assault and burglary and motor theft and all violent crimes are all they say they're down, but one's too many, guys. One's too many. So we need to make sure we get our head around that we are our first line of defense. There's no cavalry coming. The average response time, which you're going to find out here, is dramatically. We live in a great state. We're in Florida, but there are other places this live podcast goes out to that they don't live in great states. So their response time is low. And then all of a sudden you've got someone banging on your front door and you got to wait for the cops to show up to save your life. That's not something that I'm willing to do. I want to make sure I have everything I need to defend me and my loved ones and let the cops draw the chalk line and write the report. Because at the end of it, it is my responsibility to defend my wife, my loved ones. It's not a cop's job. When you start thinking about that. So you know, uh, it's getting scary and scarier out there. You guys have read the stuff. You've seen the YouTube videos. You've seen the Instagram. When you're seeing the crime rate, they talk about the crime rate is falling. It isn't falling. It's just we're curving it because some of these places like Florida and Georgia, most of the southern states, there is at least one firearm per household. That's a lot of firearms. So bad guys are dumb. They're not stupid. So they're not going to go into a place and start chasing stuff that they don't know. Home invasions and all the stuff that's out there in the world today. Those are all can be very easily cured with owning something that you can defend yourself with. That's the I don't know if you've seen the video of the guy. He parks his car. I think it's in South America. To be honest with you, but the guys he pulled into his he had a brick wall and he had a door that's closed down. And as the door was closing down, the bad guys ran inside the door before he could physically. It's like a garage, but it was an outer parking lot that he locked in. And they ran up behind him. Well, he had a cup of tea in his hand, a cup of coffee or tea. I couldn't tell what it was. And he threw the he threw that tea in that guy's face, and that guy was like, he was not expecting that, and that cup of tea saved his life because they both had firearms, but he was able to get the jump on them and be able to defend himself. And at a certain point, the firearm's one thing, but if you don't have that, you got to have something to protect yourself. So when they're telling you crime rate is low, you can see that that's a silly thing that they're saying. Just like the economy is leveling out and there's no inflation and he's doing great, he's doing wonderful, he's there for the United States. That ain't true either, guys. All right. Property crime, property crime. Where is the theft in most common property crimes? Assaults and most violent crimes. U.S. crime rate is at 100,000 people by offense in 2022. Violent crime, look where that is. The assaults, the rape, the robberies, they're all down, but one is too many. But look at larceny and theft and burglary. These are all from the FBI. These are all things. And do you think that each one of these people or these areas that are being done when you're at home or when they think you're not at home? And that's kind of one of those scary things to think about too. That's why staging your home, getting an alarm system, making sure you're protecting yourself in all forms you can. It's not only getting a firearm, it's putting a whole plan together to get you thinking in the right mind. Because in the right mind, you're going to think in a situational awareness effect. We did a video a couple months ago about putting the house in a position where you're see what tends to happen. And you need to be honest with me when you get home and you get to your house, well, you may be the guy who's on point all the time. He's looking at everything, he's paying attention to everything. But most people are lured in uh, uh, a sense of reality or lack of reality when they get home. It's like when you get home, you take your shoes off, you, you take your shirt off, and you want to just sit down on the couch. Well, I know a lot of people, and myself included, that have a firearm with me wherever I am. I don't wear it on my belt, but I can get to it very quickly. I got buddies of mine that don't take their belt off, don't take their firearm off until they're actually getting in the shower. Get out of the shower, they put them on. I'm not that there, but there is a loaded firearm in my home, and there's one in every room of the house. I mean, it's part of that deal that we have to become there. It's not easy, but when you get to your house, people always think, "Oh, well, I turn the alarm on. I'm going to be safe here. This is my safe zone." Your safe zone is where the bad guys want to go. That's where they want you to be. They want you to get that sense of calm, or in other words, you're not really thinking that in your home and your door's locked, that you're going to get someone banging on your front door to try to get in and rob you. Most people don't have that situation, but obviously, uh, you got to keep your situational awareness available at all times, even inside areas you don't think you're going to have a problem, because it doesn't take much, or it doesn't take uh, having your situation or down a little bit to have someone sneak up on you. Let's go to the next one. All right. Violent crime data. This is a pretty big one, because of how big it is. Uh, Property crime is high. Personal crime is high. All the little small areas like that are lack. I would tell you, in my opinion, that majority of the violent crime stuff happens places that you already are at, where you're in your home, or you're at work, or you're going to a place of worship. There are crazy people out there in the world just driving around town, road rage incidents, um, carjackings, all this stuff you need to pay attention to. Pay attention to your areas. But keep in mind that when you're looking at the areas, we all know where we can be and where you can't be, and where the firearm needs to be and where no one needs to be. My mother was a great example of that. She told me a couple things in my life as a very young man, and it stuck with me for a long time. My mother says that there was nothing good happening after 12 midnight, and she became a witch at 2 a.m. So if you are out past 2 a.m., don't come home, because she was going to be in a whole nother world for me. And so, you know where you can be and where you can't be. You know what you should do and what you can't do. These statistics that we're giving you today, these are very easily found through the FBI statistics forms. They don't show up very well in these graphs here, but obviously the violent crime is the one that we really want to be paying attention to, because our areas that we need to make sure that we're well aware of where we are at all times, finding that situational awareness, going downtown, Fort Myers, 12 midnight to go to the bars and drink around and everything else like that just doesn't, there's nothing smart about that, if that makes sense. Uh, you know, you want to travel with a group. You don't want to be going down there by yourself. This is a lot of things for the ladies too. There's so many stories of girls going out as a group of four, and one of the girls meets a guy and decides they're going to go. The three girls are going to go home, and the girl's going to go out with a guy. That's just no way. You shouldn't do that. But we back in the day, you went with somebody, you went home with somebody. You're not leaving people anywhere else like that. Just can't be done, especially in this day and age, because everyone looks like nothing. You know, they look calm, they look fine, but all of a sudden they become some crazy rapist, murderer, or something like that, and you have no idea where you are, who you are, and they have no idea. Great thing about cell phones now, though, you at least we can ping you and stuff like that. Back in the day, it wasn't anything. All right. This is one of those things where I thought was pretty cool because not only is it talking about home invasion and burglaries, it talks about where in a home they're going to come through. What part of the house are they coming through? And as you would understand, the front door is the most entryway into someone's house. It's the largest point, and a lot of times that can be very easily solved. There was we did a thing a couple weeks about that's probably 2 months, maybe 3 months ago, about they have entryway. How many? They have a company that takes a battering ram and bams on the front of a door to see how long it took them to break it open with the standard screws that are in the standard door. Now, guys, I want you to do this, and I want you to kind of go home, and I want you to open your front door, and I want you to take out just one of your screws in your door. And if you pull it out, and it's only an inch long. That's not long enough. Those got kicked in very quickly. They actually have an idea of taking a longer 2 and 3/4 inch screw and getting it all the way in, especially here in Florida, because our entryway doors are concreted, so you can concrete those in, and they're going to last a lot more than a standard door with a standard inch and a half screw in there. But this is kind of neat. It's got front door is 34%, first floor window, back door, basement or garage door 9%, second floor window 2% in other places. Now I would probably now this doesn't have sliding glass doors in it, but I'm going to give you heads up on the sliding glass door because many years ago, not too long ago, we had a little problem in our house and we had a home invasion. And how the guys got in was they got in through the sliding glass door. Now I was not home, but my baby boy Jacob was at home, and he was asleep when it happened, and they woke him up. And I'm telling you this story, guys, because it can happen to anybody. It did happen to us. It made us more wary of the world. It took Jacob a long time to get through what we went through. Jacob was not hurt. He did everything that they asked him to do, and they complied. The only problem with these guys is Jacob was more mad that they stole his Xbox. And but the dumb thing was they stole the Xbox. They got a few of my guns while they were there, and circle back. Reason why they were there to begin with was somebody told somebody that I worked at a gun store prior to me owning this, and we ended up having a them guys coming to get firearms, thinking I was going to be, and I went to work at 10 a.m. and they were at the house at 9 something. So they were in the middle of the day, guys, when people were supposed to work. Now, of course, Jacob didn't have a car at the time, so they just assumed no one was home. They backed up to the sliding glass door. Now, listen to me, guys. They backed up the sliding glass door and took a screwdriver and lifted the sliding glass door off its track. They don't have to lift it all the way up. They just got to lift it high enough to get that latch out of the door. So you go get a piece of PVC and stick between the door frame and the other side, which we did not have. You could get a pin that goes through the both metal pieces, which we have now. We have the PVC now. We have the other piece now. We have all that stuff now, but we didn't have it at the time. So that entryway was very easy to get in. They got into. Now we had just moved into that house, and the actual safe itself was unlocked due to the fact that I had dropped it off the truck and got sand in my wheel of my safe, and I wanted to have my buddy come over and clean up the wheel before we went to close it. So I didn't want to close it and not be able to open it with all that sand that was in there. So it all happened in this real world. Nobody was hurt. The guys actually used the Xbox, turned it on, it pinged, and that kid was arrested within 24 hours. And because three of the guys were wearing masks and the last person wasn't, it became an FBI thing because it was a gang related materials. But they came through the sliding glass door. So I can tell you in that scenario, that could have been a lot worse for everybody. It could have been a lot worse for Jacob if that safe would have been locked for any reason of all. They might would have done something to get him to open the safe, and he would have known the combination. So we were very fortunate. They busted up an iPad. They busted up Jacob's phone. They took his Xbox. I've never got any of my pistols back since that time. They were all gone after that. I'm sure one day or another in my life, I'll get a call that my pistols are there. But in the long run, it's been that long. Who knows what's going to happen? But that being said, they all went to jail for that, and they all went to timing. But got to be careful at home, man. Your home is your castle. You're 100% true in there, but you always have to have the situational awareness to understand that you're the biggest risk area you could be is home because you get a false sense of security in your home. And that false sense of security keeps you not thinking it's going to happen here. And I thought it wasn't going to happen to us, and it truly did. Big different story if they came in at 8:30 in the morning when I was home. Who knows what would happen at that point in time? But surely after 10:30, when they walked in the back door and walked right in the house, it was somewhat a scary situation for all of us. God protected Jacob, and we're blessed on that. But having something like that happen to you, it really changes your effect. Really thinks about think about your safety and security of your family, and you assume that the bad guys are not going to be able to get to you, and they truly can, guys, and they truly can. All right, owning a firearm. The importance of it. This is what I was showing you before. The FBI, the FBI, the excuse me, the ATF has talked about how the FICO years in 2023, it's over 4 million, 44 some 1 point something. I can't read it real quick. Hang on a second. It's a high amount. It's 6 million, 6 million um ATF forms were filled out in 2023. So, and it's a huge jump from year to year. But now they're seeing how important it is that we got a lot of people in the world today that looks at your security and your safety as in if it's a problem just because of you, not because of what the world is becoming. And of home ownership is one of those things that I mean, owning a firearm is part of the home ownership now, part of renting, part of doing anything is having something to defend yourself. Do the fact that, learn not just owning a firearm. As a firearms instructor, I'm always telling people, hey, you got to get to a point where you got true muscle memory, the true muscle memory to be able to run this pistol the way you want to. There's a lot of people carrying today. There's a lot of people carry every day that have never shot a pistol in the last 6 months or last year. We had a concealed carry class 2 months ago. That was the last big group clear. We had 14 people come from a group, and those out of those 14 people, there was 9 of them never shot a pistol before, and they wanting to get their concealed carry. Now we were very fortunate that most of those people decided to take training classes after the fact, but you just got to get your muscle memory down. I kind of tell everybody all the time. Excuse me for barking, coughing there. Johnny juice, real quick. Yeah, that is good. All right. You gotta you gotta remember that everything you do with a firearm is a repetition, and with repetition makes you more ability to do it over and over and over again. Remember, we got to build that muscle memory because that muscle memory is going to help us tremendously in a high stress situation. We're going to fall back to our weakest training, and if you're not training at all with a firearm, how are you going to get to that point? Because you're going to be in a high stress situation. You talk about most of the uh, cops and things like that to get into the critical defense situation, and after the fact, they're asked a lot of questions. Did you know you reloaded your magazine? Did you know you shot your full mag and you put another mag in? And did you know you did this? How many bullets do you think you fired? I fired only two. He dumped the whole magazine on the guy. These are all things that happen. And what tends to happen with a person is we get into a high defense situation. Your gonna body is gonna shut off everything it deems not necessity. So you go to tunnel vision. This has been proven. You go to tunnel vision, so you go down to seeing nothing but what's behind your eyes there, and then you're going to be running off of a big high adrenaline dump, which is going to cause some problems for you, mobility problems, and that's just what the body does. It's going to show up anything it deems not necessary, and then you're just gonna have to deal with it at that point in time, especially when you have a high adrenaline dump. It really affects you. Many years ago, I was at a gas station putting gas in my vehicle. Um, few seconds, I heard sand and a bicycle tire. I don't know. I can't explain it. Guy was coming up on a bicycle. I don't know what he was trying to do. Out of the blue, weapon was in my hand, pointed at the guy. He saw it. He biked off. I finished putting gas in the car, went around the corner, and had to sit there for 25 minutes. My adrenaline dump had caused me so much freak that I couldn't drive. I could barely breathe. Imagine if I had to use my weapon. I'm not exactly sure how that went. This is way before I was an instructor, guys. Uh, but just dealing with the whole thing, I don't know how I got the weapon. I don't know how I pointed at the guy. I don't remember any of that stuff. I barely remember the whole thing, but I would know after finish up putting gas, I was calm as can be. And then when I got in the car to drive away, I could not physically focus. I had to go over for 20 minutes, sit in the parking lot there, and just calm down. It was just a crazy thing happened internally to my body that caused me to freak. And that's kind of one of those deals of that unless it happens to you, you're not going to. I guess the closest thing I could give you is imagine you guys driving down your neighborhood and you're driving about 25 miles an hour because there's kids and there's houses and everything else like that. And the guy, five houses up from you, begins backing out of his driveway and he backs out in the street and you slam on the brakes and you barely miss him. How do you think your heart rate's gonna be? How do you think you're gonna feel? You're gonna be your heart's gonna be going, you're gonna be freaking out a little bit, you may be cussing a little bit because you jackass didn't find you, he didn't see you or whatever it is. Let's do that whole situation again, and it's a 3-year-old on a tricycle. You'd flip that car before you hit that kid. You'd be in such a different scenario, and that's kind of the adrenaline dump. And that's not even close to it, be honest with you, but that's the closest thing I could give you to what would happen to you in a situation where you were really having to get down to the emotions of it. Uh, like I said, you would flip your vehicle before you'd even think about running over that kid, if you could do that. So that's kind of where it would be. So getting that firearm is one of those key things that's going to get you to the next level to allow you to become proficient. If you don't own a firearm or don't know anywhere or don't know what to do first, getting to a good instructor. Now I know one, but obviously video goes out. This live goes out all over the United States. Last week we had a guy from Antarctica. No, we had Africa last week, and then we had Antarctica the week before. But anyways, you get to a good range. Range will have instructors. Instructors will help you get more proficient. Maybe do some try before you buy, and then get some training classes underneath your belt, which will help you tremendously build that foundation you need to become more proficient with a pistol. All right, let's go to the next one. What this self defense benefits is confidence, ability to do it. Now, this is a picture I took from the internet. I could tell you that's a huge ass pistol for that lady to be carrying. Uh, but obviously, that's what she has, and the bad guy has made the wrong decision because she is there to defend herself. Now, obviously, in that scenario, it's a stage photo, obviously, because who would wear a mask with stripes? No way. You wear checker. I'm just kidding. But you look where her hand is there. She would let that purse go before she'd let the pistol go, and that's a big double action. Looks like it's a double action, um, decock or the whole big pistol like that. Uh, I thought the picture was funny. That's why I used it. But what does owning a pistol do for you? Allows you to build the confidence to become more proficient, to be able to run the gun when you need to, get the situational awareness of down, understand that what the vital triangle is and what you need to do. Most people uh, talk about what they plan to do, what they're what they should do, and what they're going to do and what's going to happen are all those different things. One good thing about working with an instructor or working with yourself, working on those fundamentals, working on that vital triangle, working on that 8-inch paper plate, it becomes a lot easier for you because all this situation, you imagine this guy's coming at this woman and this woman's looking at that guy. Her most important thing in that scenario is to try to evade this guy as much as she can. Obviously, this is a stage picture again, and that pistol's out behind her back. Which in that scenario, if that guy with an edge weapon like that, it should be that already. They don't look more than 14 feet, maybe 15 feet apart. That weapon should not be behind her back. It should be out pointed at the bad guy because that edge weapon is a lot more dangerous than the firearm at short distances. So, self defense benefits, benefits of confidence. That's the key thing there. More time you do it behind the gun, the better you're going to be, guys. Why should you be prepared? Because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the world's going to become. You could see where we are right now. You can see what the world is becoming. You saw the last time we had a major hurricane. People went nuts over toilet paper. These trucks that go all over the United States, they stop running after a little bit. They get some kind of situation, diesel problems, fuel problems, road problems, and we could be dealing with shortages of everything. So why should you be prepared? How do you have a weapon in your home and not have 500 rounds per weapon? You gotta have ammo for the weapon to save your life. People come to the store all the time and they buy a firearm and then they only buy 50 rounds of ammo. I get most of the newbies because they're worried about that firearm doing something you're not supposed to do. But you have to have the equipment, including the ammo, to save you. So my recommendation, if you have a pistol, that pistol needs to have 500 rounds sitting there waiting to go. If you have a 22, 500 rounds. You have that's minimum. That's not. You can get more if you want, but minimum. And then you come to the range, you bring 100, you take 100 home. You never go below 500 because we could physically one day or another. What a year and a half ago, there was no 380 in town. Nobody had 380. So if you were shooting your 380 ammo and you were burning it up, you had no way of replacing it. So you either weren't shooting or you had enough in stock that you were able to do it. This is where I get to the point of get your routine, work it on a regular basis. You don't need to come to the range and put 500 rounds down range. I realize you're paying for range time, you're doing all this stuff. But remember, guys, it's the first five in the magazine are the important ones, not not 6 through 15. And what are you doing putting 15 rounds in a weapon in an indoor range? Because if I told you, are you going to be more accurate on 6 through 15 or 1 through 5? 1 through 5 is going to make you more accurate. You're going to slow down your cadence of shooting. You're going to be more accurate. You're going to be able to, you know, be be able to point the weapon where it needs to be and be confident that you're going to be able to hit that vital triangle. The more time you shoot the weapon, the less accurate you're going to be due to the fact that you're losing your grip, your strength, and your power through all those rounds. So make yourself prepared. Get a plan. Get a plan together that will make you more proficient and spend more time. You should be shooting at least once a week, whether you're indoors or outdoors or you're in you should be doing it. This is a job. This is a job. You are your first line of defense. It is not a cop's job to save your life. It's your job to save your life, and you need to be prepared to be able to do what you need to do in a defensive situation. And so, yeah. So here's some real life stories. I thought this is kind of cool. There's a lot of stuff on the market. You'll find all the shitty pictures and all the bad words about what guns do and this. These are two real life stories from a. This is the first one's from a concealed carry permit holder. He drew his handgun in self defense after a group approached him and threatened him while he was trying to leave the beach. He attempted to get to his car and flee, but the group prevented him from doing so. The police said that when the permit holder began to fear for his life, he pulled out his firearm and told the group to let him go, and they apparently complied. Now, did he have to shoot his pistol? Did he have to pull his pistol? Did he have to do it? No, the weapon itself de escalated the situation. Now, I'm not into pulling my weapon and pointing at anybody unless I've done everything I can. We carry a weapon for three reasons: evade, escape, or engage. The three E's. Always remember the three E's. Because if you're pulling a weapon to scare the bad guy away, that could just as easily be considered brandishing in the state of Florida, which is totally against the law. I will give you a little hint, guys. If you're pulling a weapon in rage and anger, you've already lost. You can only pull a firearm in fear. In fear of what? Death or bodily harm. All right, here's one from Madison County, Alabama. A woman who fatally shot her former fiance in an act of self defense when the man attacked her. Police said the woman called 911 just before midnight and reported that the man with a long history of domestic violence and conviction had showed up, and she had to use her weapon in line of defense. Now imagine if she called 911 about 12. How long you think the cops are going to get there to save her life? It could almost be over with before she even knew it. Luckily, in a scenario like that, you as a person who's being domestic violence against, you kind of identify the threat already. This is kind of what we talk about the ladies all the time. Although you are in a bad situation, at least you know what the threat is and who the threat is. A lot of times these ladies go out at night or they go out with their friends and they don't know who the bad guy was. This here is a scenario where she knows the bad guy was. She had um, a, re- a she's had problems with in the past, and the firearm saved her life. And that's kind of one of those deals. There are tons and tons of stories. So when your neighbors and your friends are asking you, why do you need a firearm? Why are you carrying a firearm? Do you expect to be in a gunfight? You ask them the same thing about that fire extinguisher in the kitchen. Why do you have a fire extinguisher in your kitchen? Are you expecting a fire? That's the same scenario we're talking about. No, we're preparing ourselves just in case, just in case, because it could easily happen to anybody. There's tons of them. I just pulled two of them, just kind of give you an idea. Being prepared, having the ability. The guy who had that his permit in the beach, and the woman who had that weapon there from a former fiance. They understand without those weapons, they would be in a bad situation. You are not Jackie Chan. Listen to me. Jackie Chan can't can't get. He probably could get three guys because he was back in the day. He was pretty badass. But I'm saying to you, everything you see Jackie Chan on TV is choreographed, right? It's not real. This isn't real. Ideally, in real life, you're not going to see the bad guy. My daddy told me a long time ago, son, you never see the alligator or the shark that bite you, and that's a true scenario. The only problem was, Dad told me that we were on about 3.5 to 4 feet of water wade fishing. And I said to Dad, why are you telling me that? He goes, well, because one of us has to hold this stringer of fish. I said, Daddy, you're holding the stringer of fish. So we got about halfway through the fishing trip, and Dad goes, well, it's time to go. I said, Dad, we're just starting to catch him. He goes, nope, time to go. And I go, all right. So we waited, get all the way to the beach. I said, where's the stringer of fish? He goes, something took it off my side. So my dad had a something that was in the water, took the stringer of two redfish and three trout and took it right off his side. So I believe it was a shark. And daddy made the decision it was time to go. And he didn't say a word to me about the shark. He didn't say anything about the thing taking it off. We got to the beach and then I realized that the stringer was gone. And that's what he told me at that point. I said, "You didn't tell me," because now I don't want to freak you out 'cause we were in too deep of water. I don't want you running. We just walked right out there, right in the water, got to the beach, and all of a sudden, my dad made that comment. So remember that. Mr. Johnson said, my daddy said, "You never see the alligator or the shark that bites you." That's good. That's a good analysis. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I miss you so much, sir. Why should you be prepared? Because the cop's too heavy. You can't carry a cop everywhere you go. That old statement, I carry a weapon because the cop's too heavy to carry. If you recognize this guy, go ahead and comment below and tell me where he's from. This is pretty simple here. So when you call 911, you all are expecting the same results for each phone call. And they have a thing they do, and they kind of like triage the phone calls of 911. Now, keep in mind, I'm talking about Florida. Every other place is different, but you know what's happening in the world today. The good guys that did the job many years ago are leaving the job due to the fact that they're not protected as much as they used to be in the past. Now, I'm not saying that every cop is good, and I'm not saying every cop is bad, but there's a guy at every job that causes the rest of them to take heat. And that's normally what happens in the world we live in today. But you got to understand, with them being short on shortages of employment or lack of time behind the seat, many about 3 years, maybe 4 years ago, Cape Coral had lost a lot of their senior uh, deputies. They all retired at the same time, or a little bit within a 5 weeks, five, 5 months. They all retired. The sheriff's department loses guys all the time for retirement, and then The new guys, they have to learn by the seat of their pants kind of deal. Back in the old days when the ride-alongs, where the guy took, the rookie cop got together and he got to ride along with somebody and learn to educate. They don't have that ability anymore. You're given your thing, you're given your car, you're given this, and you learn as you go. But when you call 911, there are four different priorities. The first priority, number one, is immediate attention. These are the home invasions, things like that. So my advice to you, if you feel like you've got any kind of situation that's going to cause you maybe they're gonna come in, maybe they're gonna break the door down. You tell them you have a home invasion. That home invasion brings the cavalry pretty quick. Still, the average of Lee County is 14 minutes. So don't ever think that you can count on them to be there in 5 because they're not going to be in 5. Why we carry a weapon? Because the cop's too heavy to carry. So same thing in a scenario where you're calling 911, you're assuming that they're going to answer immediately. Well, sometimes they don't answer immediately. They have to be that is an operator, you understand? And that operator has to send that information off to where it needs to go, whether it be the paramedics, whether it be the fire department, whether it be the police department. And they have to get a transport board there to get the information. So it's not as instant as you think it's going to be. So you want to make sure that you're aware of this because when you call 911, it doesn't matter what it is. You think it's a murder. You're calling for the cavalry. Sometimes the cavalry could be a long ways away. Technically, the job of the cop showing up is the right to report and draw the chalk line at that point in time. Number two is a minor crime just occurred and the call requires immediate attention. This is robbing a car, or maybe you caught the guy, running. He's outside, suspicious, and things like that. Then you got non-emergency, uh, prompt attention, and then service calls and investigation calls. Um, these are all four different calls, and all four of these calls could be mistaken for another call unless you educate the person who's there. So understand that your job is to make sure you are completely prepared for anything that happens in a scenario that sooner or later. Now, here is you you always want to make sure that you call 911. In Florida, one of the most important things I can give you, and I want you to really listen to this, is the first person to call 911 in Florida is the victim. And if you don't call 911 first and the bad guy calls 911 first, now they're the victim. You want to be very careful with that. Little story, guy comes from New York. He lives in Naples, Florida. He was driving down 75, got into a situation where the kid next to him tried to hit his car on accident. They got into a little road rage incident. The young kid pulled a firearm and pointed it at the guy. He slammed on the brakes, got pissed, pulled back up. They played chicken for a little bit, back, forth, back, forth. The guy was a cop, a retired cop, that is. All he did is pick his gun up and show the gun to the kid through the window. The kid saw it, got off at the next exit. This guy went up, down 75 a little bit further, got pulled off on Davis Boulevard, and got arrested for brandishing a weapon because the kid called the cops on the guy, and the guy didn't call the cops on the kid. That took a little bit to get through all that information, but at the end of it, they wanted to go to book at this guy because he was an ex-cop. He should have known better, and he had no vehicle information about the kid. He had nothing. He had nothing. But the kid had everything on him because he had his driver's license, he had his tag, what color car it was. When the cops showed up, pedaled him off the side of the street, and guess what was inside of his car was that firearm. So it all added up to the cop on his side, and he went to town. He went downtown for that. He got arrested for that. Now, no charges were filed after the fact because of the prosecutor decided not to do it because of the scenario that went through. But he's got the record. He's still got the it's on the internet. It ain't ever going away from the internet. He learned a valuable lesson of doing that. But what I told everybody, I told you earlier, when you pull a gun in rage and anger, and that guy pulled a gun in rage and anger, he should have just drove away and let it go. But he didn't, and that caused the problem. All right. So remember, when you call 911, it is a home invasion. That's all you got to say. Home invasion. You want them now. I'll be honest with you. When we had our little home invasion, and I always bitch and cry and scream and holler about how long it takes everything, those guys were at my house in 8 minutes. Now, I will tell you that my wife worked at a school, and the resource officer at the school uh, noticed the name and noticed the address and knew where we lived, and he went to her, and she knew about it before I even knew about it, because of the resource officer. So it was very quick to us, and we're not that close to to the police department. So kind of give you that. All right, take a proactive step, make a plan, get out and shoot, become more productive at the range, spend the time, understand the weapon, get your house in order, get your ammo in order, get everything you need in order. You know, we always talk about we in Florida we have this called this hurricane kit that we use. Cases of water, cases of water. Jake, Jacob, come plug this in. This thing's plugging regular. Sorry about that, guys. This thing right here, whatever this is. All right, yeah, we have a hurricane kit. The hurricane kit itself's got everything we need for 5 days. 5 days of no electric and no water and none of that stuff. We have the ability to have all that stuff. So you want to do exactly the same thing for you, but make sure you have everything else you need. You know that the ammo, the make being proactive is a lot easier than being reactive. I'll tell you what, when we had that storm last year, and we lost a lot of stuff here. If my wife wouldn't have gone out and got all that stuff and the gas and we had 5 days, 8 days, 8 days of no electric, but we had a generator, we had everything we needed. So it was like camping for 8 days. But if you like camping, that is. But yeah, you gotta be proactive and never reactive because that reactive makes it all challenging for you. All right. As we discussed, crime rates are on the rise, making personal safety a growing concern for many. By understanding the reality of crime and the importance of being prepared, you can take control of your safety and protect yourself and your loved ones. All right, guys, there we go. So let's go to the comments if we can. Bust out of here, hit the comments, see if there's anything out there. All right, let's go up here to the top, hit some of these comments. Doo, doo, doo. All right, Bear. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you for being on here tonight. We appreciate you very much. Chris, as always, you're at Papa Weasel. Nice to see you, buddy. Nice to hear from you, Ralph. I'm glad you made it, buddy. You're late, but you made it too. Awesome. And then uh McAvee is haha, that's funny. Yeah, whatever. But I appreciate that very much. Any comments for me or anything else like that? If not, I can't believe I went to an hour and 5 minutes already. I'm babbling on here. Drink this Johnny juice. It makes me talk a little bit more than I should. What's the plans for the weekend? We got a gun show this weekend for us. We got a gun show weekend the next weekend. We have range time all week. Oh, by the way, guys, we just finalized our next week. Monday is our last week of our 22 league. Then we're going to do, starting the following Monday, we're going to do a 9 millimeter 22 league. 1 week it's 9 millimeter. 1 week it's going to be 22. We've had a great 5 weeks so far. This weekend, this Monday coming up, is the final championship. We've had Tom Harchcraft. He's been number one for the last 3 weeks. Looks like he's going to run away with it. But we've got some good upper Benjamins. Miss Johnson last night shot a 294 out of 300. But she can't win because she's part of the team here. But we always want her to shoot. And Chris, one of our guys on the call tonight, he's been up in his skill and up in his game too. Well, it's Tuesday. You know what that means, guys? It's taco night. So I'm gonna go home and get some tacos and look for you guys for next week. I can tell you three things. God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line defense. Don't forget, guys, check the subscribe button before you get off this thing tonight. Make sure you hit it and hit it and hit it. Smash it, smash it, smash it. Because sometimes something's going on. We're losing subscribers each week. And then we remind you about it and you get back on there as well. And if you want to get into one of our membership programs, that's on our YouTube channel as well. And for $2.99 a month, you will support us. And once we get to 10 subscribers, we're going to do a private call for you guys each week. And you're going to get first see of all the videos before anybody else gets to see them. Until next time, God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line of defense. I love you guys, and good night.